Hello, hello! I am Ben Pick, and thank you for joining me in Running to Write, where I give questionable writing advice through writing metaphors. Today, I'm talking about mystery boxes and how we can write them into our stories. Well, what are they? Mystery boxes are intriguing questions that a story asks with the assumed promise that they'll be answered by the story's conclusion. Mystery boxes are the reason why I no longer like most of J.J. Abrams' works. Namely because he has a tendency to open up a lot of really interesting mystery boxes with no intention of giving a satisfying conclusion for closing them. My disillusionment with J.J. Abrams began way back when with Lost, which was my first experience with a cultural phenomenon that all but died when the series ended because no one cared due to how badly Lost ended. The series was based around all these really creative mysteries that never got answered, and the answers that were provided were not well thought out, to put it nicely. Lost opened countless mystery boxes, and my friends and I debated for years about how each of the mysteries would ultimately be resolved. And then we got these unsatisfying answers, which led to my friends and I completely abandoning the show. Off the top of my head and over the course of the series, some of the key mysteries were: how did a man who was paralyzed from the waist down suddenly begin to walk after a plane crash? What was the smoke monster? How did somebody see the future so they could keep this one woman alive? Why and how did the island keep traveling all across the globe spontaneously? And there are so many others that I just don't feel like naming here because the answers we got were, simply put, bad. Anyone can open mystery boxes. All it takes is a creative idea and an elevator pitch. The true purpose of a mystery box is to hook us in and hint that there is some kind of background machination at work to get all the pieces to fit together. Mystery boxes draw us in by convincing us there is a bigger purpose to the story. In fact, all along the way, Lost showrunners kept promising that there were answers to all the mystery boxes that they were opening, and that these would be delivered before the series concluded. Without a good or logical or decent answer to all the mystery boxes that get opened, what you're left with is empty disappointment. As far as I can tell, these are the answers that I raised earlier which Lost had opened as mystery boxes. First of all, Locke was able to regain the use of his legs so that he would believe in the island and was later rewarded for having that faith. The smoke monster was the physical manifestation of the evil trapped on the island, though that's contradictory to what frequently happened throughout the series, where it acted with benevolence. So when that occurred, the good had taken control of the smoke monster, maybe. The island was able to move around because it was unbound in both time and space, possibly. And lastly, the current inhabitants of the island, who were capturing or otherwise killing the people who had crash landed on it, were doing so because they were following orders. In all of these cases, you'll see that there are question marks there, and really more questions are raised than were answered. Thus, those mystery boxes were never truly closed, at least in my opinion. In Lost's defense, there are plenty of reasons why the plot threads which captured the community's imagination were ultimately abandoned and left open. First and foremost, the internet community kept growing and growing and growing, and the theories that were being generated led to plausible solutions to those various mystery boxes. The writers went so far as to mention how somebody on the internet had successfully theorized the correct solutions to every mystery box they had opened, and so they no longer cared to tell the story they originally intended to. Instead, they created new solutions which clashed with existing mysteries, character motivations, and the show's themes. There was an ending they were originally building toward, and it baked in hints all along the way when they decided to veer sharply at every potential turn simply because the community had guessed where they were going. Instead of building to that meaningful conclusion, the story and plot threads became a mess filled with twists meant for shock value rather than anything that could have been guessed. Yes, the writers were pushed to focus on the Jack, Kate, and Sawyer love triangle, And there were plenty of actors who kept getting in trouble with the law, so they had to be written out of the show. Also, there was the writer's strike, which further inhibited what they could do with the show and how well they could answer and close those mystery boxes. Glossing over all my opinions about Lost, these are my 5 tips to create interesting mystery boxes and how to close them in satisfying and meaningful ways. Number 1, Guessable. Yes, it's okay if readers are able to predict where a story is going. I've had conversations with readers of my own Into the Void series, and they've been able to theorize some of the key solutions to the mysteries I've raised across the series. So what? Not everyone had picked up on the hints that I put into the story or understood exactly what they meant, and the people I talked to had also theorized plenty of other ideas which were outright wrong. Be careful though. When the answers are guessable, it makes the characters feel dumb when they take so long to catch up to the readers or viewers. We should aim to not make a disconnect between what the readers have already deduced and what the characters are still discovering. Number 2, don't keep it simple. Running counter my previous point where the answer was guessable because it's the simplest solution, we want to include complications so that simplest answer isn't what's really happening. Throw in wrenches or roadblocks or reasons why a polar bear was on a tropical paradise island that are more deep than the polar bears were brought there for experimentation because polar bears are good test subjects. It was kind of cool when they found the polar bear skeletons in the desert, though that raised more questions than it solved, and it was just a hint at the supernatural elements within Lost, without really justifying any of the reasons that things were happening. Number 3, not plot relevant. I believe that a great mystery box should be a part of the setting or naturally flow from the world building, rather than be the main plot itself. Going back to Lost, they did a great job with the world building of the mystery boxes because there was a point where there were a lot of hints combined together to lead to a key solution of the island's world building. These hints were women were having trouble getting pregnant, there were some crazy magnetic occurrences, and a Geiger counter was going crazy at random points. This reinforced observant viewers and rewatching each of the episodes to gain all those tiny hints that were then discussed well after the episodes were over within the community. Everyone had their own theories about what these various hints would ultimately mean. Long story short, radiation leaking from an atomic bomb was the most likely culprit, even though it didn't fully tie in all of those hints. Sure enough, a few seasons later, the characters found an atomic bomb leaking radiation. It's a lot messier than that, but at no point were the mysterious issues with pregnancies or spinning compasses or any of the other various clues driving the main plot. Those hints were puzzle pieces to unravel the island's supernatural qualities, yet for the characters they were nothing short of danger. Specifically, when they found the atomic bomb, it was an extremely dangerous moment, yet for the audience, it was, aha, I knew it. I didn't care that the characters never sat down, put the pieces together, and said, I wonder if there's a radiation leak on the island, or maybe there's an atomic bomb nearby. They didn't have to. That was all for us and our viewing experience. The characters never needed to care short of treating the symptoms and addressing the challenges as they appeared, so these mystery boxes were nothing more than obstacles or dangers whenever they showed up in the episodes. Mystery boxes are great, but if you take them away and there's no interesting story remaining, then in my opinion that is an unsatisfying experience. Unless of course you're writing a mystery, in which case ignore that comment. I really enjoyed watching the Netflix show Wednesday and all the mystery boxes it opened. However, to me, the story revolved around Wednesday's day-to-day experiences and the drama of going to the school for outcasts. Even though there were plenty of specific questions and she was intentionally there to try and solve a murder, that always seemed secondary to her day-to-day drama and the friends and enemies she was making along the way. For most of the season, the drama was front and center, while the mystery boxes were driving the plot in the background and driving her motivations. They always felt secondary to her relationships, the fights, the makeups, and everything that she was emotionally experiencing. That's not exactly true, but that's how I felt when watching the show because of how Wednesday treated the other characters and how the other characters interacted with Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday did use certain people in her life to try and further chase the breadcrumbs and catch a killer. Yet even so, it still felt like she cared more about the life she was living and the people in it than about the murders taking place. And all of her goals were ultimately to protect those around her, even if she did a really bad job of showing it. Number 4, is it worth rereading or rewatching? Knowing how the various mystery boxes close, do I still want to engage myself in that story again? When the mystery boxes hold no sway over my interests, and the drama is lackluster, then I don't want to waste the time going back and experiencing that story for yet another time. On the other hand, if I'm on the edge of my seat sympathizing with the characters despite knowing the answers and still caring about their journey, that is a well-written story. Even better will be when I discover something new, such as a well-placed hint or a twist on the known mystery box. Specifically, one that I only catch because I have a fuller understanding of how the story will unfold. In those cases, I get more from rereading a book by gaining additional depth to an already vast ocean. I love going back to early episodes to see characters act in ways which feel odd, only to guess that the actor was told their secret before the rest of us uncover it. This will be a hot take and one that a lot of you disagree with me on, but Doctor Who did this wonderfully with the River Song plotline. One of my recommended jumping on points to get people to like Doctor Who is the two-parter The Silence in the Library. It opens a mystery box by closing a mystery box we didn't realize had been opened, and completes a multi-season arc we didn't realize had started. By itself, the episode is good Doctor Who with a killer alien on the loose. Rewatching the episode, knowing where the story goes, makes it such a heartbreaking moment. The actress who played River Song, Alex Kingston, she knew her character's trajectory thanks to the showrunners, and she brought such gravitas and that advanced knowledge into every performance. And lastly, number 5, get a second opinion. When all else fails, I strongly recommend that we know exactly what's going to happen. We should have an outline for those of us who outline, so that we know exactly what's going to happen and why as we write, or rather before we write. That makes it easier to spread breadcrumbs throughout our story as we hint at the mystery boxes that we've opened. Then we get a team of beta readers together to explicitly ask them if 1, they saw and read the clues, and 2, correctly understood what they mean. There could easily be some kind of disconnect in there, and we need to know so that way we can better tie in those hints across our story. I've had beta readers tell me to tone down certain hints while ramping up other ones. That way I can give my regular readers the best chance to guess how the mystery boxes will be closed without beating them over the head with it. As writers, we get too wrapped up in the meaning behind our words and may forget that somebody with different experiences would interpret them differently. Those are my 5 tips to opening mystery boxes within our stories so that we don't have to have a character say something like, "Somehow Palpatine returned?" I am Ben Pick, and thank you for joining me in Running to Write. If you enjoyed my mysterious thoughts on opening mystery boxes, please press those like and subscribe buttons. Also, since I'm going to be doing live episodes alongside these regular pre-recorded episodes, go ahead and hit that bell so that way you'll be alerted whenever I have new episodes arriving. Let me know in the comments what tricks you use to create mysteries. Do you agree with my opinions, or is everything I said wrong? Also, are any of you Reformed Lost fans? I post my running and writing progress on Instagram and Twitter as Running to Write, so be sure to follow me and join in with your own thoughts. Don't forget to sign up for the Running to Write monthly newsletter for regular updates on my story musings, pitfalls, and lessons learned. The link is in the description below. And for added incentive, for those of you who sign up, you'll get the first 2 chapters of my latest book, Expanding Cracks, free. That way you can see how I open various mystery boxes within those early chapters. See you next time. Until then, open those mystery boxes and make us care how they get closed.